This is a story from October 2018. It's my story. So, in the October of 2018, I played in this huge tournament, a 4-day tournament from 17th to 20th October in Goa. So it was a tournament with three categories basically: category A, B, and C. So I was playing in category C from 17th to 20th. C is for players below 1600 rating, FIDE rating. So this here is a look at the tournament hall. It was a big tournament with a lot of participants. In category C tournament itself, this was the starting list of players. You can see I was ranked 31st. I was on rating 1516. Highest rating was 1593. So the total number of players was huge, 536 players in category C alone. And this is the best tournament I've played in because the entry fee was 7,000 rupees, but it included accommodation and food for all the 4 days. And the prize fund was huge. First prize was 1,25,000. Second prize was 1 lakh, and then 70,000, and then 50,000, and then so on. So it brought in a lot of players because of the prize fund and the location, Goa. Now, after 9 rounds, let me show you the standings after 9 rounds. Okay, I don't have the standings here, but just the pairings after 9 rounds. This was my ninth round. I was on board three, and I defeated Sachin Gowde from Goa. And on 10th round, which is the final day, there was only one round on final day, and that was at 9 a.m. I was going to face Prasath K R, the sole leader of the tournament, who was on 8.5 points. I was on 9 points, sorry, 8 points. And there were a few players on 8 points and a lot of players on 7.5. So this was the first time I was playing on the top board in such a big tournament. I mean, I've played on top boards in other tournaments, but not at this scale. Not at a huge tournament, international tournament with categories A, B, C, and over 500 participants. So it was a nervous moment the night before. Basically, there was just one round left, right? So everything depends on that one round. And I was thinking, should I offer draw against Prasad on the next day? Because then I'll be getting something around fourth prize or fifth prize, maybe even third prize, and it'll be something around 50,000 rupees. But if I win, I would get 1,25,000 rupees first because he will be on 8.5 and I'll be on 9 points. So I'll be the only one on 9 points. There will also be some other players, but their butch was low. So after 9 rounds, I was on. Uh, okay, the butch was good. Butch was where's the butch? It doesn't show here, I suppose. Yeah, it doesn't show here. But okay. Now coming to the final day, the round was at 9 a.m. So we were supposed to leave the hotel room by around 8 or 7:45. I woke up very early that day. I was the first one to wake up. I woke up at around 6:30, 6:15, and I had to make a decision like how to play this. I'm playing black on the last day against Prasath K R, who I faced one time before. And this is how the game happened. So I was black. And before I tell you this, basically, before the game started, Prasad offered me a draw multiple times. Like for him, a draw would be a good result because he will probably get first itself. He'll be on 9 points, right? For me, draw would be a good result. So it was a very good offer, like inviting offer. But I had already decided I want to play for the win. Like I want to see how it goes because this is a chance that you never get more than once in your lifetime. I thought so. So this was a decision I'd made before, so I just wanted to play. So e4 e5, knight f3, knight c6, and he went for the Jokopian. I mean, he played bishop c4, I played bishop c5, d3, and now h6, bishop e3 and bishop back to b6, knight c3, pawn d6, and h3. He also doesn't want me to play bishop g4 after he castles. I played knight f6. Here comes a very important moment. He played queen d2. So you have to understand he was not very happy that I declined the draw offer. And here he's going for an aggressive move. Why is it so aggressive? Because a normal move here would be just castling, right? Castling would be normal. I would also castle, and the game goes on. Queen d2 is basically inviting black to castle, and white wouldn't mind bishop takes h6, giving up a piece for 2 pawns and the attack. This is not a situation you would want to be in the final round. I mean, it's objectively still better for black, but you're under attack, and defending under high pressure is not very easy. So this is not what I signed up for. So after queen d2, I just played bishop e6, delaying castling. He went bishop to b3, and now d5. So this was also an important moment, whether to play d5 with both kings in the center. Will that affect my king more, or will it be problems for his king, or will it be fine? So I decided to go for it. So in moments like these, I mean, actually, I remember this moment because it was not a lot of calculation that I did here. It was just the feeling. Like I felt like d5 can be played, and my mind was telling me to play d5. Just go for it. And one of the things I want to tell you when you are playing in a tournament or in any situation in life is if you visualize something ahead, then those things happen. Like this is one of the secrets of doing well. Uh, Basically, before a tournament, I visualize myself playing at the top level or holding the trophy in hand before the tournament even starts. Like visualize it, imagine it. So to visualize that, you also need to believe in it. That's the thing. Like you cannot visualize something with half belief. And that belief comes only if you're confident about your ability. Like if you have not played enough games or practiced tactics before a tournament, you can fake belief, but it will not be from your heart. So that visualization doesn't help. So if you believe in your abilities, you're confident and you visualize things before it happens, then those small moments happen for you. Like moments like this, d5, just changing the game a little bit. Takes, 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 bishop a4. He didn't take, he went bishop a4. And now another important move. I just played castles. It's a pawn sacrifice because he can play bishop takes, pawn takes, and knight takes. Right? It is a free pawn. But what I was planning here was just take, and queen h4. And here queen f2, there is this nice move knight e3. I hadn't seen all this because I did not calculate. I didn't want to calculate this because I knew that this was okay. Like intuition was this was okay. And I didn't feel like he would really go for this. He would go for the extra pawn because it's risky for white. His king is in the middle, right? And once you see queen h4, you wouldn't really want to go for this, like after bishop takes. So after castles, he played bishop takes, pawn takes, and then again he thought for a long time. Because again he can do the same thing. Takes, takes, and takes. This time I don't have bishop takes e3. So here the plan was still queen h4. Or what did I have in mind? I was also thinking of rook e8. This was also something I had in mind. Because if castles, I can go bishop h3. Right? And I get the pawn back. So things like this are possible, which is why he just went back. The slight moral victory there. He did not continue through with this plan. He didn't carry on with this plan. Now, knight f4. Now suddenly the position is becoming good for black. You can see the knights going to f4. White cannot castle because in knight h3. And it's a good position. You've got 2 pawns and the attack. Don't want that. So he went bishop takes, pawn takes, and now definitely he cannot castle, right? Because knight h3, pawn takes, I'll take on f3. So he played king f1. Like it was necessary. Like he has to save his king and defend g2 and prepare rook e1. Now I just played queen f6. Now this is like what do you say? Muscle memory. Like I've got this position so many times. Just bring the queen in, up, bring the rook up, get this rook in. Knight is on f4, so everything is good. Now, in a few moments, there'll be a very critical moment of the game, which is what I want to focus on. Knight e4, queen moves. He played rook h2 because it was a mate threat, almost mate threat. Now rook f7, I just decided to develop my rooks, double the rooks, knight d5, queen back, and rook f8. Position looks great, right? I mean, I was very comfortable with this position as black because nice rooks, nice knights. Only problem is, and look at white's king and rook. The only problem is the double pawns. Even knight e1, I played knight d4, c3, and knight f5. I just wanted to improve the knight a little bit. But looking back, this might not have been the best choice because now he played knight f3. This was a huge realization moment. Imagine sitting in my shoes here. Imagine playing all this, getting a good position, and now suddenly you realize that there's no way to defend this pawn. mean, you can move the queen to h5, but then g4. It's not just this pawn; the whole position crumbles. If I just move my queen to h7, imagine he'll just play knight e5. And how do I defend this? No way to defend it. The knights are not there in squares to defend this pawn. And once this pawn falls, I have nothing. White's knight is superb on e4; it cannot be attacked. So this was a huge moment. So it took some time for me to realize that this was a big problem. And my opponent was walking around looking at me like, I've got you. I mean, not completely got you, but I've got you in a little bit of trouble. What are you gonna do? So uh, here I was looking at options basically. I couldn't find any options, to be frank. I mean, right now, if you look at the engine, you will see there's knight d6 or knight f. I mean, knight d6 or knight f6. Basically attacking their knight. So if knight e5, you want to take here. And now if knight takes queen, you will take there. It'll be a complicated line. King e1, king e2, there is rook f2. So king e1 and the knight's trapped. So probably just save the rook. And he takes, and this is okay, right? What is the material? I'm one. Oh wait, it is not okay, na? Okay. Wait. So he can't take the knight yet because rook f2. Like I'll play rook f2. I'm getting back the pawn, and position is great. So he can't take the knight yet. Knight's anyway trapped. He can just play rook d1, but it's still better for me, right? Rook 8. So this was okay. This was good for me, but I did not even see knight d6 because after I looked a little bit for options, I couldn't see any for the first 3-4 minutes. And then I saw a move that looked completely crazy, but I just thought a little bit about this knight e3. Knight e3 pawn takes. Does it lead anywhere? Or knight g3? I was thinking on those lines. So after thinking about knight e3 pawn takes, I couldn't see anything. Then I thought knight e3 pawn takes, rook takes knight. Pawn takes, rook takes. So basically a full rook sacrifice. Try to calculate with me. Knight f e3, pawn takes, rook takes knight, pawn takes, rook takes. So if you see that position, let me just make the board bigger. This takes, rook takes, pawn takes, rook f3. If you see that position clearly in your mind, it feels a lot to give, like giving up a rook, right? So initially I didn't like that idea, but more and more I looked at it, I couldn't see any other good option. So I invested a lot of time in finding the truth in this. Is there any point in playing 93 pawn takes and rook takes, giving a full rook? But after that, those three moves happen. 93 takes, rook takes knight, pawn takes, and rook takes back on f3. Rook takes pawn. What will happen? What are the options? Let's say he plays rook f2, the most natural move, right? He blocks with the rook. Then I saw that rook takes h3 is very strong there because I'm threatening rook h1 to get back the rook, and his king is stuck. And I'm also threatening knight takes. And remember, when I played knight takes, there's a pawn taking back here. So I'm also threatening knight takes pawn. So a lot of things there. And once I saw that rook h3 is good, like I had a feeling this was really good, rook takes h3 after rook f2. Then I decided to investigate further. What are the other options? If rook f2 is good for me, what else can you do? So knight f3, knight e3 takes, rook takes f3, pawn takes back, rook takes pawn check. He can also move his king, right? Let's say king e2, getting out of there. That was the hardest line I couldn't see. Before king e2, I thought of knight f2, blocking with the knight. What if he block with the knight? Then I saw that knight takes pawn is there, and after king moves, I still have ideas there like queen h5. Rook is here, knight is here. I have queen h5 as well in that position. So I was okay with that. And then the difficult thing was to see what happens after king e2. So let me show you the position I was calculating. Knight e3 takes, rook takes knight, pawn takes. This is the position I was calculating. This is a critical position. If I could see that I am good in all these three lines, rook f2, I was thinking rook takes h3. And now if king e2, I have queen g4 or queen h5. And if king goes back, there is rook a1 getting the rook back. And if he plays rook e1, I did have queen g4 or rook check. Actually, rook check. Rook check, king e2, queen check. And if rook blocks, is rook check again. And that's winning. So rook f2 was not a problem. That is what I calculated first. Then I calculated knight f2. Here I thought I have knight e3, right? I've got knight e3. And I also have queen g3 attacking the rook. So that's enough play for me. I mean, after knight e3, he will still play king e2. And if queen h4, there was still knight g4. This was his best option actually. Knight f2 would have been his best option. We'll check with the engine afterwards. And the third one was so difficult to see, like king e2. I couldn't see anything here. If he moves his king e2 and then d1 c2, what do I have? If I take here, it's not enough. I'll just be losing. Two rooks and knight against queen. So this was the hard part. After king e2, what to do? So I looked really hard, like for a long time. This took me like 20-25 minutes to play the knight e3 move. Here I saw that I could play queen h5. And the king can't escape because of the discovered attack. And if the king can't escape, then this discovered attack is anyway coming. If king goes back, then knight e3 comes or rook e3 comes. The position collapses for white. So that was it. After double checking everything one last time, I decided to go for it. Knight e3. And Prasad was visibly shocked. Like he must have seen this a little bit, like it could happen. But seeing it on the board is a different thing. Right? And after rook takes, he took a long time to decide what to do. Like before this. After knight e3, he took immediately. And then takes. Here he stopped and thought for a long time. And then after takes, this is where I had calculated rook f2, knight f2, and king e2. Three options, right? Because king e1, there's queen check. So that's not really an option. Now, before we see what he played, let me show you the main move here. Knight f2 is the best option. Rook f2 is losing for white because rook takes h3 and I'm getting back the rook at least. So the best move is knight f2. Now, after knight f2, I was thinking knight into e3, but apparently it is still good for him. I was also thinking queen g3, but queen g3 doesn't help. Queen g3 is rook g2, right? And now white's doing fine. Like I have knight e3 still, everything is there in the air. But if I play knight e3, there's queen e3. That's a little bit difficult to see. Yeah? I mean, that's the problem. It's a piece up. So this would have been good for him. Knight f2, I'll have to play something like queen g3 wouldn't work. I'll have to play knight into e3. And after king e2, queen h5. But here he can give up the queen, right? Isn't this possible? Oh, then I have rook into h3. I'll get the rook here. And the attacks are still there, but still will be good for him. So knight f2 was a correct move here. But in the game, after I played all this, Prasad took time. He must have probably seen all these lines properly. And it's scary, these lines, right? He played something that he must have thought was enough, would kill my play. He played queen f2. So the idea is if I take, he will take back with the king, I suppose. Yeah, king takes, or is it a problem? King takes, I suppose. And now I have a queen and knight, but his knight is great, and his rook is still good, and the other rook is coming to g1. So this is what he must have seen, like two rooks against queen situation. Like this is Prasad kind of move. He would want to kill my play completely, and now I'm left with the queen in hand, but with no play. So the problem though is he did not see one small detail, a very basic detail, which was missed. Do you see what it was? Yeah, before I play rook takes queen, I have knight takes pawn. That kind of changes everything because it's a very strong pawn. After king e2, I take the queen. Now, what's the difference? E pawn is not there, and that means knight f5. The knight which is on d5 came to f5 for free. And without the pawn attacking at any time, this is a strong knight, just like his knight. And now he played rook f1. I played queen h5 check. Rook f3. And here something funny happened. After knight h4, I mean, he played knight g3. I played queen g6. He played rook e3. And I played knight g2. And here he played rook f3. And I played knight f4 check. So a lot of knight moves. The funny thing happens in one moment. Yeah, here he touched his rook. He touched his rook for some reason. Like the last few moves were a bit confusing. First of all, imagine the position you're in. You're in a losing position. Everything is about to go down. But now some queen moves, then knight comes in, and then knight moves, and then he automatically wanted to play rook e3 or something. He touched his rook. And because he touched his rook, he has to move the rook, right? It's a check. It's a check. So he can't move the rook to e3. So he was forced to take the knight. That made the job easier. It's still winning completely. because he must have thought d3 saying, so he has to just wait. That's why he moved, touched his rook. But position is still winning because h3 is going to fall. It'll still be a hard win, little bit work. But after this, it's completely winning because now it's I just defended the pawn, gave a check, took the pawn, and after h5, he resigned after h5, and that was it. So I won first. This was the final standings. So there were two players on nine, I and Vishwat Parekh. He had a lower tiebreak. He had 51 tiebreak, like which I had 53. So I got the championship with a score of 9 out of 10. And Prasath got down to fifth place with 8.5. If I had lost this game, I would have been somewhere here, like 10th or 11th, probably some 25,000 prize. So this was the biggest moment of my chess tournament play. I wouldn't call it a career because my career is coaching, but uh, tournament play, this was the biggest moment because it was number one, the highest prize, and number two, it was a huge tournament, like top notch tournament with a huge coverage and everything. It's unfortunate that they did not conduct the tournament after the next year. So they did one more version of it, one more edition next year. After that, COVID struck, and then they did not organize because of some internal issues. There is no Goa international tournament nowadays. Hopefully, they'll happen. It'll happen soon, next year maybe. So that was it. This was the biggest moment in my life, I would say. Winning that prize. That changed everything actually, the whole life. Like living, style of living, classes, everything changed after winning that prize. So I still look back to that moment where I woke up that day morning to decide, to think about what to do, whether to offer a draw or not. And that decision changed everything. And this game changed everything.